Hello, everybody, and welcome to Neurofluency, English of the Mind, where psychology, neuroscience, and language meet.
Here, English is not just a language, it's a mirror of consciousness. In every episode, we explore how words, thoughts, and behavior are connected, so you can speak and think with awareness.
I'm Mary, researcher and storyteller. I decode the hidden patterns behind your emotions and behavior.
And I'm John, linguist and researcher. I translate psychology into practical English, so you don't just study the language, you embody it.
Together, we'll journey into the unconscious mind, where language becomes self-knowledge, and every word reveals who you are.
This is Neurofluency, English of the Mind. Don't just learn English, rewire your mind to think in it.
Today's episode explores a subject that shapes every human life: pleasure.
Not the kind of pleasure you see in advertisements or self-help slogans, but the psychological force Carl Jung believed could either awaken or enslave the mind.
We'll decode the psychology of pleasure through Jung's vision and discover what your daily habits secretly reveal about your mental health and self-control.
It's time to go beyond motivation and discipline and understand the language of your unconscious.
You think you want pleasure, but maybe your pleasure is hiding your pain.
That's a heavy statement. What do you mean?
Carl Jung once said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And that's exactly what we'll explore today. How our habits of pleasure may reveal parts of ourselves that we've ignored.
So this isn't just about dopamine or motivation, it's about meaning.
Exactly. Jung believed every craving is a message from the unconscious, what he called the shadow. Every time we seek quick pleasure, scrolling, snacking, overworking, we might be trying to avoid a truth within us.
And today, we'll see how that insight connects psychology, neuroscience, and language. You'll learn how to translate Jung's concepts into English and into life.
Because real self-control isn't about repression, it's about awareness.
Stay with us. Your shadow is speaking. And today, you'll finally understand its language.
Well, let's start for the concept. Jungian deep dive.
In English, we call it pleasure. But Jung didn't see pleasure as good or bad. For him, it was a form of psychic energy, the movement of the soul towards something it desires.
Right, he used the word libido, but not just in the sexual sense. He meant the total energy of life, what motivates and animates us.
Exactly. And here's the key. When that energy has no conscious direction, it becomes impulsive. That's when we fall into what Jung called the shadow, the side of ourselves we deny, hide, or repress.
So when I scroll endlessly or binge a series, it's not random. It's my shadow trying to express something.
Yes, the unconscious speaks through behavior. Jung would say, your craving is symbolic. It's not about the object, it's about the meaning behind it.
So instead of asking, why can't I stop this habit? We should ask, what is this habit trying to tell me?
Exactly. Maybe your craving for constant entertainment means your conscious life lacks creativity. Maybe your need for control hides a deep fear of chaos. Jung's invitation was, don't fight the shadow, integrate it.
Integration means owning your impulses consciously, not being owned by them.
Yes, that's what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole, of uniting light and shadow, awareness and instinct.
And when you do that, pleasure transforms. It stops being an escape and becomes a tool for growth.
The conflict, when pleasure becomes a substitute for meaning.
Let's take this deeper. Jung observed that modern people suffer not from too much desire, but from too little meaning.
That sounds familiar. Our world is full of stimulation, dopamine everywhere, but a lot of emptiness inside.
Exactly. Jung would say, when meaning disappears, the psyche compensates with stimulation. We confuse movement with progress.
So the habit is the symptom, not the cause.
Right, someone constantly checking their phone might not be addicted to technology, they might be craving connection. Someone overworking isn't always ambitious, sometimes they fear being worthless.
That's the persona and shadow dynamic, right?
Yes. The persona is the mask we wear for the world, the image we want to protect. But the more we identify with the mask, the more the shadow tries to balance us. That's why an always strong person may have secret anxiety, and an always productive person may collapse in burnout.
So repression builds tension, and the psyche releases it through compulsive pleasure.
Exactly. Jung said that what we repress doesn't disappear, it comes back disguised as fate.
That's powerful. So instead of asking, how can I control this? The real question is, what is this behavior compensating for?
Beautifully said. Once we see that, we can stop judging our impulses and start decoding them. Awareness turns chaos into communication.
And maybe that's what real mental health is. Not the absence of impulses, but the ability to listen to them with consciousness. Now let's talk about the solution. Turning awareness into action. Jungian applied practice.
So Mary, after everything we've uncovered, the shadow, the persona, the hidden motives behind pleasure, how do we actually transform all this awareness into real change?
That's the question Jung devoted his entire life to answering. He believed transformation doesn't happen through control. It happens through a relationship with the unconscious.
Relationship?
Yes. In Jung's view, the unconscious isn't a monster to defeat. It's a messenger. Your impulses, your cravings, even your procrastination, they are forms of communication. When you listen to them consciously, the energy changes.
So the first step is to listen instead of fighting?
Exactly. Jung called it active imagination. It's a practice of inner dialogue, speaking with your impulses as if they were characters in your own inner world.
That sounds a bit like storytelling therapy.
It is. Imagine you're constantly craving distraction, scrolling, binge watching, avoiding silence. You can close your eyes and ask, what are you trying to tell me? Maybe that voice says, I'm tired of performing. I just want to rest. At that moment, your craving stops being the enemy. It becomes a teacher.
It is. Imagine you're constantly craving distraction, scrolling, binge watching, avoiding silence. Now, instead of judging yourself, take a breath, close your eyes, and simply ask, what are you trying to tell me? Maybe a quiet voice inside replies, I'm tired of performing. I just want to rest. And in that moment, the craving stops being an enemy. It becomes a messenger, a teacher, revealing what your conscious mind has been ignoring. Now let's look at the steps you can follow to transform that awareness into real change, the same inner process Carl Jung called the path to integration.
Step 1. Awareness. Meeting the shadow. Awareness always begins with honesty. Notice the patterns that repeat in your life, the times you lose control, the habits you regret, the small self-betrayals. Each repetition is an invitation from the shadow.
And naming it in English helps, right?
Completely. Language gives shape to the invisible. When you say, a part of me seeks comfort when I feel anxious, you are naming the emotion. And that's how integration begins.
Because what we can name, we can negotiate with.
Exactly.
Step 2, dialogue. From resistance to relationship. Once you recognize your impulse, don't suppress it. Talk to it. Write, draw, imagine a conversation with that part of you. Jung used to say that the psyche speaks in symbols, not logic.
Can you give an example?
Of course. Let's say someone keeps sabotaging their projects. Every time they start, they find a reason to stop. If they ask their inner voice, why? They might hear, I'm afraid to fail, but even more afraid to succeed. That's not laziness. It's a complex emotion waiting to be heard.
So the act of listening transforms the pattern.
Exactly. Jung said, what you resist persists,
What you accept transforms. When you accept the shadow's voice, its energy becomes available for creativity and focus.
So, what do we do with that released energy?
We channel it consciously. If you realize your craving for comfort comes from stress, create a ritual of relaxation instead of a compulsive habit. Maybe light a candle, breathe deeply, or write a single line in your journal. I choose calm, not escape.
That's what you called earlier, redirecting energy.
Yes, Jung believed psychic energy must always have a direction. When we repress it, it becomes chaos. When we direct it consciously, it becomes purpose.
So, even the darkest impulse can be transformed into light if we understand its message.
Exactly. The shadow doesn't want to destroy you, it wants to complete you. Every craving, every emotion, every struggle is a fragment of your wholeness waiting to be integrated.
And this leads to Jung's final step, integration, or what he called individuation. It's the lifelong process of uniting opposites, reason and emotion, discipline and desire, ego and soul.
So instead of eliminating the shadow, we invite it to sit at the same table.
Exactly. You don't need to destroy your impulses. You need to give them a conscious role. The desire for pleasure becomes a desire for balance. The hunger for control becomes the will to create order.
That's what he called the transcendent function, right? The ability of the psyche to find a third path between extremes.
Yes, a middle space where paradox turns into wisdom. That's how awareness becomes transformation, not through force, but through meaning. I will give you a real-life example. Take someone who's constantly overstimulated, always checking their phone, never at rest. They decide to pause, breathe, and ask, "What am I avoiding?" They realize they fear silence because it forces them to face their loneliness. So instead of forcing themselves to stop scrolling, they start a new ritual, 10 minutes of silence each morning. Tea, music, journal. The energy that once escaped into distraction now flows into reflection.
So the same energy, but a new intention.
Exactly. In Jung's language, instinct transformed into insight. And in plain English, pleasure turned into peace.
That's beautiful. So, in the end, the real self-control is not domination, it's dialogue.
Yes. Control is about suppression. Mastery is about understanding. When you integrate your shadow, you gain freedom, not because the impulse disappears, but because it no longer drives you unconsciously.
And that's the journey Jung called becoming whole.
Exactly. So if your mind ever feels divided between what you want and what you should do, don't fight the division. Study it, listen to it, and you'll find the bridge inside yourself.
After such a deep dive into the unconscious, let's come back to the surface for a moment, because every concept we explored, shadow, awareness, integration, also exists in language.
Right. And understanding these ideas in English helps you embody them even more.
Exactly. So now let's go to our English learning segment, where we'll decode today's key expressions and turn Jungian psychology into your next vocabulary upgrade.
English lesson. Vocabulary and language of the mind. Let's review the English concepts and expressions used in this episode so you can integrate both psychology and language fluency. Key Jungian terms in English. We see the term and after the meaning, usage. Shadow. The hidden, repressed parts of your psyche. Example, my shadow reacts when I feel insecure. Persona, the version of yourself you show the world. My persona wants to appear confident. Individuation, the process of becoming whole.
integrating all aspects of the self. Jung saw life as the path of individuation. Libido, Jungian, the total psychological energy that drives growth and desire. Compensation, how the unconscious balances what consciousness ignores. Workaholism is often a compensation for emptiness. Transcendent function, the inner process that unites opposites, discipline, desire, reason, instinct.
It is an English class. Now, let's see some useful expressions from the episode. First, we see the expression, and after, an example. To integrate the shadow. Therapy helps us integrate the shadow instead of fighting it. To redirect energy. I redirect my anxiety into exercise. Pleasure with purpose. Take a break, but make it pleasure with purpose. To observe without judgment. Mindfulness means observing without judgment. To give your shadow a job. If you crave control, give your shadow a job. Organize, plan, create. Grammar in context. Here we see grammar concept, example, and insight. When I feel. I notice I'm craving comfort when I feel stressed. Use the when plus present simple structure to connect emotion and action. Instead of plus verb ing. Instead of scrolling, I journal for 5 minutes. Express substitution, a healthy alternative behavior. To turn X into Y. Turn craving into creativity. Great idiomatic pattern to express transformation. The more, the more. The more aware you are, the less control your impulses have. Comparative structure for psychological cause and effect ideas. I'll leave some exercises in the caption so you can practice what you've learned.
So, what did we really learn today with Carl Jung? That pleasure isn't just a moment of satisfaction, it's a message. Every craving, every impulse, every distraction carries a meaning, an invitation from the unconscious asking to be heard.
Jung taught us that self-control isn't about repression, but about awareness, the courage to face what we hide, and to transform that hidden energy into purpose.
Exactly. When we stop fighting our shadow and start listening to it, we open the door to something far greater than discipline. We find wholeness. And that, in English and in life, is the true meaning of integration.
We hope that today's conversation helped you see your habits, your mind, and your language from a new perspective, one that connects both your personal and professional growth.
Because learning English isn't only about grammar and words, it's about learning to understand the mind that speaks to them. And if this episode inspired you to look a little deeper, then you've already taken a step on your own path of individuation.
Thank you for being here with us in this exploration of the human psyche and language. If you enjoyed today's journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments. What was your biggest insight or learning from Carl Jung today?
Your reflections help this community grow, a place where we don't just study English, we explore consciousness together.
So keep your mind open, your awareness sharp, and your words intentional.
This was Neurofluency, English of the Mind. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode, where we'll continue to decode the language of the mind.
Don't just learn English, rewire your mind to think in it.